Salvete discipuli, and welcome to our next lesson. What else can we do with infinitives? One of the things that we can do with infinitives is write all other Latin verbs in the present, the imperfect, and the future tense. By the way, these three tenses make up what is known as the present system. To write verbs in one of these tenses, there are 3 steps we must follow. Step 1 is to write the base of the infinitive. Step 2 is to add a connecting vowel. And step 3 is to add the required endings. Let's take a look at step 1, writing the base of the infinitive. Remember that when we look at a vocabulary list, it is the second principal part of the verb that is the infinitive. Notice that each infinitive has 3 distinct letters on the end. RE are the last 2 letters, and that's always preceded by a vowel. That makes the infinitive ending. To get the base, you will need to remove the infinitive ending. Let's look at how that's done. ARE, when it is removed, forms the base loud. On mowo mowera, we remove ERE to get the base mauve. For curro currera, we remove the ending ERE to get the base cur. And on capio capera, we remove the ERE to get the base cop. On dormio dormira, we remove the IRE to get the base dorm. Now we are ready to move on to step 2, adding connecting vowels. To understand this step in the process of writing verbs, you will need your blue verb chart. Pause the video now and get it from your notes or the teacher, or use the electronic copy attached to this lesson. Now that you have your blue chart, I want you to focus on the bottom right corner at the box labeled Connecting Vowels for Present System. Notice how they are organized by verb conjugation and tense. But what is a verb conjugation? A conjugation is just a fancy name for a group of verbs. To determine the conjugation of a verb, you will need to look at the infinitive. Remember, when you look at a vocabulary list, the infinitive is always the second principal part. The last 3 letters of the infinitive are the infinitive ending. They're the ones we remove to get the base. But before you remove them and get the base, take a look at how they are spelled. The spelling of the infinitive ending is what will identify conjugation. If the infinitive ending is ARE, the verb belongs to first conjugation. If the infinitive ending is ERE and the first principal part ends with EO, that verb belongs to second conjugation. If the infinitive ends with ERE and the first principal part just has the letter O, it is a verb from third conjugation. If the infinitive ends with ERE and the first principal part ends with IO, we say this is a third IO verb. And finally, if the infinitive ends with IRE, it belongs to fourth conjugation. Now let's return to our connecting vowel chart to determine how the conjugation of the verb helps us determine the connecting vowel. You should notice that each conjugation uses specific connecting vowels, and sometimes those connecting vowels change, even depending on the tense of the verb. For example, third conjugation uses a different connecting vowel for each of the three tenses. So does fourth conjugation. And sometimes the connecting vowels change depending on the specific ending that's used for a tense. For example, look at third conjugation and how it uses I as a connecting vowel, but you in the present tense when the ending changes to NT. Always use this chart to help you determine what connecting vowel to add to the base of your verb. Now let's take a look at the final step, which is to add the required endings. That means you have to know some endings to add on to the verbs, and here they are. Pause the video now and write these endings on your blue chart. You'll notice that I have the letters O and M highlighted on my chart. You should too. They are highlighted because in this box you will not follow the three-step process for writing verbs in the present tense. You will simply write what is the first principal part of the verb. Also note that on the chart you have two future tense lines. Future tense 1 and 2 endings are to be used only on first and second conjugation verbs. Future tense 3 and 4 endings are to be used only on third and fourth conjugation verbs. Now pay attention to how three different verbs from three different conjugations are written in the present, the imperfect, and the future tense. This first verb, laudo, laudare, is from first conjugation because of the ARE. Remember that to write the I form of the present tense, you simply copy the first principal part from the vocabulary list. When we are not writing the I form of the present tense, we must follow the three-step process for writing verbs in the present, the imperfect, or the future tense. We get the base, we add a connecting vowel, and we add an ending. Now let's look at a new verb, curro, currera, to run. Notice that its infinitive ends with ERE, and its first principal part ends with O. That makes it a third conjugation verb. Remember that when you write the I form of the present tense, all you need to do is copy the first principal part of the verb. Do not follow the three-step process. The final verb we will look at is dormio, dormire. This verb belongs to fourth conjugation. I know this because the infinitive ending is IRE. Hopefully, you were not asleep during this lesson, but if you were, you can always come back and watch it later. Class dismissed.